Holy crap, we got a half an hour pre-show. You're welcome, patrons. Mute that. Let me know when we are ready, Jesse.
We've been ready for 10 seconds now.
Hot dog! All right, now we're recording.
All right.
Are you ready, Mark?
I'm ready.
All right. In 3, 2.
Welcome to Nintendo Dads, episode 128, recorded on May 10th, 2017. On tonight's episode, we talk about the fact that Nintendo doesn't quite think they'll sell 10 million Switches, Fire Emblem Echoes being the last 3DS entry in the series, the composer of Deus Ex and Unreal is working on something mysterious at Retro Studios, and we're joined by Nintendo Nostalgia's Jacob Rush. Zach, cue the music.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Nintendo Dads Podcast. My name is Zach Erickson, and tonight is May 10th, 2017. Joining me tonight is His Highness, co-editor-in-chief of BG Tribune, Jesse Waldek. What's going on, Jesse?
Where did that come from?
I don't know. It felt right. You know, sometimes it just feels like, you know what? No.
Do I need to change my hood from last week for a crown?
You know what, though? The nice thing about Jesse being...
I still have the hood here. I'm not wearing it this week. Everything makes me sweat.
Yeah. I don't know. Speaking of the hood, joining us as well, his with all his sick beats, I don't know, I got nothing. Marty Estes from the Land of the South. What's going on, man?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the sound of trying too hard.
Okay, let's not do that again.
That is the sound of pure white, is what that is.
He set me up. It was either that or beatbox. I'm sorry. And you don't want me to do that.
I totally would have liked that, too. That would have been amazing.
Maybe next week.
Yeah, seriously. Finally, joining us as well is Jacob Rush from the Nintendo Nostalgia Podcast. What's going on, man?
Hey, well, what's up, guys? Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, man. It's nice having you on the show. Thanks for being here. I love having people from all over the Nintendo internet land place. So we will, later on in the show, we're going to give you a chance to strut your stuff and give your pitch and whatever, all that kind of stuff. But thanks for being on the show, man. It's great having you.
Thanks for having me.
Right on. Well, we don't have a ton to talk about, but I think we might as well get into it, right, guys? Might as well. All right, let's do it.
Do it.
And the news is brought to us by
OneUpBox.com. You too can get a monthly box of geeky goodness delivered directly to your house by going over to OneUpBox.com and using the code NintendoDads to save $3 off your first box. Go over and check out OneUpBox.com for all your geeky box needs.
Sweet.
Before we start into the news, I wanted to throw something out there that we didn't put in the show notes. A few days ago, Joshi, our friend of the show, Joshi, put out a video thanking his subscribers to reaching the 150K mark. But instead of spending the whole video talking about how good he is, he wanted to share the knowledge and share the wealth a little bit and talk about other Nintendo channels that he enjoys.
Yeah, dude.
And we
awesome.
got like third billing.
Yeah. Congrats to Josh for 150,000. And throwing his scraps our way. I appreciate it.
We got a higher billing than Roger did.
What?
I think he mentioned Roger after us, like 4.
Yeah, rightfully so. Really, I mean, it's nothing but One Piece over there at Roger's base. But no, he's got his own gaming vlog, gaming channel as well now too. But I'm joking, Roger. You are wonderful. You're a beautiful man. So that's right on. Seriously though, that's a big milestone for Josh too. So kudos, and super exciting.
Yeah, we're still up in the three-digit numbers. So we've got a ways to go.
Past 800 subscribers. So, and that's great. That's on
YouTube, which is awesome. It's still a fraction of what's on iTunes, but you know what? It's a fun place. So that's super cool. Right on, man. Well, let's get into the news. There's not too many. There's not too much news going on this week, right? Just a little bit. But how long do we want to wait before we just start throwing these people under the bus here? Let's talk about these 10 million switches before we start talking about our people. These bandwagon jumpers. Let's talk about Kimishima. So he's saying here. Marty, you're the one who kind of threw this story in here, right?
Yeah. So this week there were a couple of things that happened. The first is that Tetsumi Mishima has basically come out and said, so, we said that we might sell 10,000 Switches, and I bet you guys believed us. Well, we're really not. In fact, his exact quote, and I'm looking this up right now.
I think it was something like, we could if we wanted to, but
we don't want to. But I don't really understand. Why wouldn't you want to? He actually says, I don't think we can readily achieve that target.
Yeah.
Now, that's got a lot of people wondering, is the target too high? Are they not producing enough Switches? Or is production going slower than they hoped to? Or are they starting to see a slowdown in sales? And so I thought I would ask you guys that, what do you think? Jacob, you're our guest. We like to let guests go first. So why do you think he would say this?
Honestly, I have no clue why you would. I think they're just gun shy. They're afraid to. With anybody who, if they're coming back from struggling with like the Wii U did so much, the Switch is doing so well, and I think they don't want to get ahead of themselves. They don't want to be like, we're on top of the world again, and then they fall short. I just think, they're just playing their cards close to their chest. They've always been a conservative company. And that's really what I see them doing. And if they do reach that goal or go beyond it, then they only look good, So that's really what I get from it.
Yeah, that's kind of what I think too. Is it's very much like, because the worst thing they could possibly do right now when they're kind of projecting things is to set something and then not hit that, right? Because then all the headlines are, oh, well, the Switch underperformed expectations and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, crap, right?
Like how many times did we see that with the Wii U?
That was
quarter after quarter of, well, we set this goal and then we didn't hit it. Well, we didn't hit our goal again. Well, I totally get that. I think this is. I do think it's a little too conservative. I would like to see like a set number. I mean, I thought 10 million was probably too high when they mentioned it, but I get what they're trying to do. I get that they're trying to capitalize on the excitement of what's going on with the Switch right now. But 8. My point is, it's better for them to set a conservative goal and then blow it up.
Yep.
And them to say, oh, we're going to sell 10 million and then like it be 7.5, which is still impressive. But especially if we're talking like in a year, because that's half of the Wii U numbers that it took 5 years to do.
Yeah.
I think
so. Anything right now that's above and beyond Wii U sales is good.
Biggest problem Switch has right now is it's not on store shelves yet. They sell out as soon as shipments come in, and
that was my thought too. Yeah.
And the reason why 2.n million units sold already, or what was it? What was that at the end of March? Was it?
It was over. It was like over 2.5. I think it was
2.4.
So
I believe.
The reason why it was that high is because they did something with shipping that they normally don't do. They shipped it over air.
Yeah.
Because if they relied on the normal boat, those end of March shipments would have gotten here middle of April. So missing their fiscal year. So they did that as a push to get to boost their fiscal numbers. So we got a manufacturing issue and we got a shipping issue.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is too,
they need to do something with both before we start seeing them in stores. And until they're in stores, you can't buy it.
Yeah, and the thing is too that I worry about is if they initially are like, oh yeah, we could easily sell 10 million, or if other people are saying that, if they're estimating demand, right? And I don't know anything about this. This is all speculation, right? this is why we're a fan podcast. But
Right.
there's a different, like, if you're looking at, we could easily send, like, projecting you could sell 10 million Switches, but you're only calculating demand into that and not supply. If people are saying, 10 million, you could hit that, and all of a sudden they're saying, I don't think we could actually hit that. What that tells me is that demand is going to outpace supply for the entire year, or at least they're anticipating that, which means
Then you have NES Classic again.
Yeah, sorry everybody. The Switch is going to be hard to find for a while.
And those who do buy it, scalp it.
Yeah, scalp.
They know how to find them.
So if that is, and again, that's just me going off of, basic sort of what I know. But if that is the case, then that would mean that the Switch is going to be hard to find because demand is going to continue to outpace supply. And my suspicion is that every time we get a good, solid first-party game, there's going to be a spike in sales and a spike in demand again, which means it's going to continue to be hard to find. So if you see a Switch in the wild and you don't have one yet, you may want to jump on it because I really think this is going to be like the Wii again, right? Like, I remember the days of the Wii where I was like, I'm kind of remotely interested and whatever, and all of a sudden I was in a freaking Blockbuster one day and they had one sitting on the shelf and I was like, holy crap, I have $300 in my account. I have a student loan. I'll just buy it. And so I just bought it on. And
you didn't see
that
these on the shelf until 2008.
Yeah, exactly.
It was over 2 years.
Well, and that's why I think that this is going to be exactly like the Wii. But here's the thing: if it's like that, the encouraging thing with that, I think, is that we saw the Wii succeed, even in spite of that. So you've got a business model that's there that, and so I'm wondering is, people are calling Nintendo out on this and they're saying, well, you guys are just doing this. You're doing false scarcity and all, supply. You're limiting the supply chain on purpose. Are they? Or does this thing just take a long time to make?
See, you get one item, maybe. I can see them do that. But every item they sell, that's just stupid. I don't think this is intentional.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Here's a better question. Are we dealing with a Nintendo that is genuinely shocked and surprised at the success of this? I
think I don't. Well, I think they were hopeful but conservative, right? Like, so that's what they're dealing with right now is that they were holding back.
See,
I
don't understand holding back initially. Wii U sold 13 million units. Whether they made 13 million units on year one, stopped production, and just coasted the line, doesn't matter if they did that or did it over the entire 4.5 years. It's still the same number of units. They really, if you are starting a new product, you need to crank those things out as fast as you can. Then after maybe 6 months, then see where if you have warehouses full or not. But that's if you do it the other way around.
I think that's exactly what they're trying to avoid there, Jesse. Is that they don't want warehouses full of these things, and I have to believe that somewhere in America right now there is a warehouse full of Wii U's.
Yep.
Yeah.
I thought they were all recalled, literally.
Well, they're recalled, but what do they do? Are they burning them? Are they using them as refurbs, or what are they doing? Because the thing is that stock of that system exists somewhere. You can't get it on the store shelves anymore.
Right.
There is a large space right now being occupied by deluxe premium Wii U sets.
They're going to go to the New Mexico desert, bury them, and then in 30 years, people will forget that it happened and think it's just an urban legend.
It's the new E.T. I love it.
I think I mentioned this before. I thought that was history. I grew up figuring that was fact. I don't know when it turned into urban legend, and people thought it was not. It didn't really happen. And then
Jesse, how does it feel to know you're old enough that something that you remember actually happening, other people doubt that it actually happened at all, and that it's a legend, literally has fallen into the realm of legend.
Quag in chat says Wii U phone home, so there you go.
Oh, that's the best comment ever.
Yeah,
got a title right there.
with my daughter is making me feel old too. She graduates high school next week.
Oh, geez.
And how old are your kids? 9 months old.
Yeah, I got a 6-year-old. Yeah, dude, he's turning 7 this year.
Well, I'm talking about your youngest one.
Oh yeah, no, he's 9 months. Yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, anyway, so
can we throw a number out here? What do you guys think we're going to see by the end of this year? What are sales going to look like?
Sales will look like whatever they can push out. I don't know.
I want to see. Sorry, I'm looking up Wii U sales here, like the hardware sales. I'm looking for.
I still think if they can do 6 to 8 million, and by the end of this fiscal year, so we still have 11 months left. I would consider that still to be a good first year.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I don't. Which was their original projection when they then said, "Oh, we think we're good. We're going to double our projections." I'm like, no, I don't think that's a good idea.
Just for context, the Wii U launched in November 2013.
12.
12.
Yeah. Sorry, November 20. It only sold 4 million units its first year. So
Switch is already halfway there.
Yeah.
And again, I think I said this before, but the fact that it's a portable system encourages multiple purchases per household. And that's the main thing that's going to push it forward. Versus, there's no point in buying more than one Wii U. But again, I'm already a 3-Switch household. Wouldn't be surprised if I'm 4 by this time next year, or as soon as my youngest daughter gets a job. As soon as she decides she wants a Switch, she'll buy one, if she can find one.
Yeah, I'm really contemplating getting a second one, and I was not in the beginning. I was not thinking about that at all. But my son, he loves video games. He has abandoned the Wii U.
Wow, dude.
And I moved it upstairs for him, but like when I come home from work, I'm fortunate I get to come home every day at lunch, pretty much most days to my house to eat lunch. And you know what? He's playing the Switch. When we go somewhere, Dad, can we bring the Switch? The 3DS, the 2DS has been abandoned. It's all about the Switch for him.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really predict at least within the next couple of years, he and I will have our own Switches.
Wow.
Maybe it may have to be like to wait to be a Christmas purchase for him or something like that. But it's definitely going to happen because unless it comes out with like I showed him the new 2DS XL and he was like, yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, that's one thing I'm glad that my kids are as old as they are, is because I bought my Switch and that's the only thing I bought. The other 2 Switches, they bought themselves. Because they're old enough they have jobs, or my son had a job, but he had enough in savings after quitting that job that he was able to buy one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and say if it was only 4 million in the first year, I think like a good I think 7 is, and that, like, putting that into context, by the way, is like, of course they're not going to hit 10 million in the first year. Like, that would be easy.
And the month-to-month numbers are going to look bad until October, and then they'll spike again.
I think they'll spike in July. I think they'll spike in July with Splatoon.
Not as much. But November will be the big spike because of Mario and because of the holidays.
Yeah,
that'll be the first Christmas of the Switch.
All I know is they better have a ton of these things for Black Friday.
Yeah, I would expect. I am kind of expecting another 2 million units sold between November and December.
Mm-hmm.
So there's almost 5 million units there, and then you've got the rest of the time in the middle to be a little wishy-washy with the sales, with the numbers, which I don't think will be as good.
Yeah. Never know.
So
I
hope people look at this and not be surprised. Mm-hmm. They should not be surprised that this number is sold less than last month.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jake.
Sure. I'm just saying, you never know at E3. Nintendo does have some plans up their sleeves. I mean, we could get a surprise announcement at E3 that maybe they drop a bomb on us and we get a game somewhere right in August or something that we didn't expect.
Mother.
For the Switch. Mother, absolutely. I mean, you just don't know. I think I feel like that 7 range right there is what we're probably going to get to, especially with Mario coming at the end of the year. It's basically a second launch for an entire system when Christmas gets here. So, yeah, I can see it being in the 7 range.
And that second launch will be good for the general consumer because the hardcore Nintendos and the collectors already have our units.
Yeah.
Well,
It's not like the normal November launch where everyone's fighting over the same minimal stock.
Right.
Well, and the thing is that I saw, I think it was today, that the majority of actual regular old gamers still are not really that aware of the Switch existing.
Actually, that article said non-gamers.
Oh, that said non-gamers. Okay.
Megadads were making fun of that on Twitter tonight. They were like, "So who paid for that?" Non-gaming community not aware of new gadget in the gaming community. I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, I must have misread that.
It's like people were trying to find it's. I tweeted them back. I was like, "Breaking news: water is wet."
Yeah.
Because I mean, like, why would we expect non-gamers to know about the Switch?
Yeah. Hey, Marty. Here's a question for you. Can you tell me what the latest Kia vehicle is?
No.
Okay. There you go.
Right.
No.
There's a live example,
Perfect
a live demonstration of.
Well, and like I can imagine the study, like somebody walking up to somebody on the street in New York City and being like, "Hey, do you know what the Nintendo Switch is?" Shut up, kid.
Yeah.
Like, no, I don't know what the Nintendo Switch is.
Yeah. So that's all right, Marty. I think we've killed enough airtime here. You wanted to throw.
I want to throw Polygon under the bus, but not as much as I did at the start of the show, because I did go back and I've actually, as we've been talking, I've been digging through Polygon's archives about Nintendo Switch, and you would say, why are you doing that? Well, the reason is that Polygon posted an article. Was it yesterday? I think about or maybe Monday, about how Nintendo Switch is the system people love to love. Doesn't that sound awesome, guys? That just sounds like...
You know what that sounds like? It sounds like an emotionally manipulative headline is what it sounds like to me.
It also kind of sounds like it sounds... It also kind of sounds like the type of article that someone would post when they realize they've been terribly wrong.
Yep.
Adam, when the chat says your first mistake is going to Polygon.
Well, yeah, that's true, but I didn't actually go there because I saw somebody post it on my Facebook feed, which eventually did lead me to Polygon, which I guess is just the problem. But I did go back to February 23rd and read their pre-review for the Switch, which, to their credit, was not written by the same person that wrote this Love article, right? But they weren't exactly sold on the Switch, and they weren't exactly... they didn't hate it, but they didn't love it. Basically, in fact, the writer of the article says at the end, and I'll quote this. He says, "My current excitement with the Switch, and after a few days with it, I am excited, despite the problems I've encountered, is driven by how well positioned to deliver on the Switch's mission statement Nintendo appears to be." Yet, in the article, he talks about lack of good software and launch titles and how there's very bare UI and all kinds of stuff. And I'm actually reminded that The Verge was the one who was so down on the Nintendo Switch in the beginning, and they really haven't changed their opinion to my knowledge.
Polygon is just an extension of The Verge, though, or at least it's a spin-off of The Verge. Right?
Sure.
They're both Vox Media, but anyway.
Oh, okay. So here's... Like, I kind of feel like this article that, we love to love the Nintendo Switch comes off really disingenuous.
Yeah.
It's kind of like trying to like retroactively say, oh yeah, hey guys, we knew this was cool. We knew it was going to be good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It reminds me of, and this is going to come off like I was a total like hipster, pretentious little whatever. But I remember as a kid, and this is going to go way back, but I remember as a kid that when Pokemon Red and Blue came out, I was I was in probably grade 7 or 8. And I was like super excited about it, and I like had my Game Boy in my backpack at school and was super pumped about it and everything. And I remember and I was never one of the cool kids at school. I don't know if it probably isn't obvious about how cool I am now, but but it's I remember specifically taking some crap from a few people, and I was just like, like a bunch of jocks were like giving me crap about it and making fun of me, and I was like, screw you guys, whatever, and I just kind of went home. And then a couple of the jocks kind of like later that day followed me, or like I was walking home and they kind of like stopped me, like, hey dude, actually, you know what, come here, I actually my cousin played this game and he showed it to me, and I was like really, this was like a couple, 2 months later or something like that, and they suddenly were both really excited about it and wanted to know about it, and I was like, okay, and like it was the weirdest thing ever, and this is just like reminds me of this, of like what is going on. This is the weirdest thing ever, but yeah, so it's the same feeling that I'm getting, Marty, where it's like, okay, now that you are not going to be seen as uncool for liking something that is actually enjoyable, now it's okay.
Can I retract my benefit of the doubt that I was giving them just a minute ago? Because in doing some more digging,
I expected you to do so.
I found that the same guy who wrote this, it's okay to love the Nintendo Switch, wrote this in an article on February 28th. Don't buy one unless you're willing to be part of the process. In other words, part of the process of filling out the user interface and making the Switch usable. Or at least, don't buy one if I can talk you out of it. If you're a diehard Zelda fan who doesn't own a Wii U and wants to have an informed opinion on what the company is doing with its hardware, and then he says this, I'm in that position due to my job, go ahead and pick one up. But just realize that what you're buying isn't a finished system, and Nintendo itself apparently doesn't feel comfortable enough to even tell us it's working on a fix for the controllers. Super negative.
Yeah.
For throwing Nintendo under the bus. And so I say, let's just stop reading Polygon.
Yeah, well, here's the thing.
Before the Switch even launches, when still only the media have it, and it's a lot of problems with that, making that decision at that point in time.
This article is ridiculous, though. I mean, here are some of the language that's used in this article. This sentence in particular just drives me bananas. Plane rides have become a sort of surreal gaming utopia.
Wait, what?
The guy writes, plane rides have become a sort of surreal gaming utopia. In reference to taking the Switch with him.
I don't know.
This is the same guy who 2 months ago was saying, don't buy one. Don't buy one if I can talk you out of it.
Okay. You know what? This is this plane ride thing. I hear that. I don't know how. In the States, in your great United States of America, are plane rides just like this super common occurrence that everybody just like on a weekly basis decide, you know what, I'm going to go on a plane ride? Because I kid you not, so many people that I listen to, they're like, oh man, I just love how you can play the Switch while you're on a plane. I'm like, really? How often do you go on a plane ride?
Well, I mean, if you're Game Over Greggy, you're flying like every day,
Yeah. So there are some businessmen who do that. I maybe fly 2 or 3 times a year.
I can't tell you the last time I was on an airplane. It was 2013.
And the last time I bought my own ticket was 2011 when I went to E3. And after that, I have not bought any airline ticket because they're so expensive. And all my travel has been work-related, so work paid for it.
I guess just my problem with this whole thing is that you're starting to see this industry thing, and it's not just journalists, because EA this week is like all of a sudden like, we're very excited about the success of the Nintendo Switch and we're looking at bringing lots more games to it. Well,
also known as, we're looking forward to making more money.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. And all these people are like, "Oh yeah, EA's coming." Who gives a rip? That's actually
EA was coming back in 2011 as well, and you saw how well that worked out.
Yeah.
Marty, I'm gonna go ahead and just point out that are you basically doing the Nintendo equivalent of being mad when your favorite band suddenly became cool and you liked these before they were cool?
No, actually, I'm not. What I'm mad about is the fact that Nintendo gets crapped on for the last 5 years, and then all of a sudden the Switch takes off and everybody's coming back around like, oh, I've always liked Nintendo. I love that Mario fella. He's a good guy, like that's the part that bugs me about it is like either get it, either be on the wagon or not. Don't wait around for, the next basic success or whatever, because as far as it goes, I mean, did Nintendo have a bad home console cycle for the last 5 years? Absolutely. But they totally killed it portable wise. Mm-hmm. And nobody can deny that. So, all of a sudden it's like, oh, Nintendo, we need to develop for Nintendo. No, you needed to be developing for Nintendo the whole time. The Wii U was basically the Switch prototype. I wish this system had come along, 5 years ago. But I don't know that we were ready for it. Just to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that there is something to be said for, I think EA has been very, very cautious.
5 years ago, we were still adjusting our eyes to 3D.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah, and I think there's, I can see it from their perspective, I guess, that you don't want to invest a bunch of money into something that is not, that you're not going to see that return. Like, they're running a business, I get that, but I also can see kind of where you're coming from too, where it does feel like, okay, now that Nintendo is going to make you a bunch of money, and again, then suddenly you're excited about it, but and it really shows like, okay, there's like, they're only in it for the money, they're not in it for which in a lot of other words, which is they're a very large company that has a lot of moving pieces. They need to be able to justify their expenses, but a lot of these indie developers, on like, as a contrast, they jump in on Nintendo platforms even when they know that, like, we would probably make more money if we were to develop this game for Steam and PS4 and all that stuff, but they do it because of their love for Nintendo.
Well, a lot of these games still end up there too.
Yeah, were you gonna add something there, Jacob?
The one company that always sticks out in my mind is Ubisoft. It's a company that I've actually grown to have a lot of respect for since the Wii U days, because I really feel like they were there with the Wii U when it came out. They gave it a fair shot, a fair go. And it didn't sell as well, and they had to put some of their games on other systems that were Wii U exclusives at one point, like Rayman, things like that. And
Zombie.
You see, Zombie, another one. You see them already with the Switch. They're the ones who've talked about it, I think, more than anybody else. We have the Rumor Rabbids game coming. That's a company that I've grown to respect out of all of this. Because I agree with Marty. I feel like sometimes third parties have like a vendetta against Nintendo. It's like, it seems like they don't want to help Nintendo. I've talked with Bobby Pauls, the Nintendo guru. I said, what happened to the days when these companies used to love to put their stuff on Nintendo? That was the dream, putting their games on Nintendo. And now it's like, you see companies mocking Nintendo. You see companies laughing that, like, I would never put my game on the Switch. And I don't know, it really irks me. It rubs me the wrong way. And sometimes I just want to be like, Nintendo, just buy all the indie developers up or make them just so they work for you, and just say, see ya, third parties.
Yeah, I think though, like, what we're seeing is, I guess I will say that I can see, I think that some of the ridicule has been well earned. To be fair, to those people, I think that Nintendo, especially in those days where Nintendo, they took a gamble and they said, you know what, we're not interested in being a part of the mainstream, the mainstream sort of gaming landscape, and we're going to go off and do this Wii thing. And for serious gamers, that was not interesting. That wasn't interesting at all. And so any company that was really engrossed in that core gamer market they were just like, what are they doing? Like, this is freaking weird. We can't put our game on this platform. That's not, like, it's not even a serious, it wasn't even a serious thing to do. And Nintendo kind of put themselves in that corner, right? And they did it knowing, or at least hoping that that was going to pay off. And for the Wii, I think in the short term it did, but we're still seeing the long-term effects of what that did, right? With the Wii, basically what they did was they gave up some of their nerd cred so that they could go after mom and dad and grandpa and nursing homes and whatever, right? And so now they're trying to regain that. And I think the Switch actually is really like they're doing a lot to come back. And I think that's what we're seeing is that the Switch is giving Nintendo back a lot of nerd cred, which is really good. So
and I really love the fact that you've pointed that out, because the nerd cred is coming not just on the games but on the design of the device, the way they're marketing it, the way they're positioning it. It's a lot better for everybody. But if you think about it, the thing that came to mind, Zach, when you were talking about mom and dad and grandpa, is we've come a long way from the days of the Wii Vitality sensor.
Yes. Yeah, where that was like the thing
that did not get made.
Well, and that was the direction they were going, right? Like that was what they were
going the direction of Nintendo as a life service.
Quality of life. And that's not what Nintendo is. I'm sorry. No. I don't think it ever will be.
I think that there's a place for it. I think that Nintendo, like, there are certain pieces that I think that there is a potential there, if executed well, that could, as a part of the Nintendo ecosystem. I can see that being there and being a positive piece of the puzzle, in a very similar way where Mii's and Mii's, for example, are now, they exist on the Switch, but they're not key to its identity, right? And I think that maybe that is, it's like, you could have a Fitbit, and you could get the Fitbit app for your phone, but if you don't have a Fitbit, that's fine. Right? Like I think that's kind of how that works. Go ahead, Jacob. Were you gonna say something?
No, I agree with you guys. I mean, I kind of want to leave the Wii behind. I mean, Nintendo really, they handicapped themselves because they had such great success with the Wii. I mean, it was awesome. They tapped into this field of people who didn't game often, but it ultimately set them up for failure, obviously, for the Wii U. But I was what Marty said in the hardware. I mean, I run a show called Nintendo Nostalgia, and we're obsessed with Nintendo's past and our favorite consoles and games still to this day. I mean, I see so many similarities with the Switch that they remind me of older times. They remind me of like the games that they're putting out. I feel like I mean we had Zelda and we have Mario coming. I feel like these games are what the 64 was like back in the day when we had Ocarina and we had Mario 64. They were groundbreaking games that set the bar. And I mean, we don't know what Mario Odyssey is going to be like yet, but I just see similarities in times, and I feel like, man, it's kind of like a glimpse of the past in today, and that's exciting to me.
Just as long as we don't go back to 1983. That is bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to mention one more thing about EA before we move on. EA was there for the Wii U launch as well. True. But they kind of half-assed it. They really didn't look like they tried. Like the way they handled Mass Effect 3. And I think I mentioned this in the show before. I'm repeating myself multiple times here. But, Mass Effect 3, $60 game on Wii U. Next week, we have the trilogy for $40 on every other system.
Yeah,
and
then they blame Nintendo for it not selling.
Yeah.
They should have just not even bothered with 3 and just did the trilogy for Wii U as well. That would have at least had equal ground everywhere, and then that would have been a fairer test to see who's really interested or not. But they can,
Yeah.
Right.
they stepped them on their own foot.
But see, Nintendo is way more positioned to handle something like that now, where they could say, "Oh, well, you've got Mass Effect 3; it's out for $60. We're going to release Mass Effect 1 and 2 on the eShop for $10 each."
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the cost sucks; it's double the price on a Nintendo system, but they're there. And if people want to jump into the first Mass Effect that they've not played yet, it's $10.
EA to care enough to port all 3 games instead of just one.
Yeah.
You know, and I think again, going back to that then versus now sort of situation, whereas this week now we know that EA is it actually like the full 2K18 NBA game that's coming out? Like it's not stupid port like some
and we're getting the same special editions that everyone else is getting.
Which is that makes me really happy. It's
a bold step.
Yeah, it really is. And to see that it is this sort of that Nintendo the Switch being a part of those other 2 systems, right? That it literally is on all 3 systems. I think is great. It's really, really good.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about that, and I hope that. Like, I don't expect that that's going to happen every time, though, right? Like, I don't think that the next Call of Duty is suddenly going to be released for Switch. I think that certain games that's reasonable, but not all games. So, anyway, yeah, cool. Anything
else? That's a question for Activision.
Yeah. All right. So next up here we have. So I just wanted to confirm something to everybody. That is absolutely 100% confirmed. And if you can't tell, this is not sarcasm. No, this is sarcasm. So Metroid Prime 4 is confirmed for the Switch. And next story.
You heard it first on Nintendo Dads.
Nintendo Dads breaking the scoop. No, so basically what's going on here is there is some guy. See this again. I'm such a wonderful journalist here.
He sees 2 articles of rumors, and that turns into confirmations.
Yep, absolutely. You know what? I think that 2 independent reports.
Hey, if you've got two put together, that's 4.
Yep. Yeah.
Metroid Prime 4 confirmed. Illuminati.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? Though? Just I want to believe. So basically, what we have here is,
and everyone else wants Half-Life 3.
Yeah. So basically, there's a man named Alexander Brandon, who sounds like he probably works for some secret government agency. Is actually the composer of Deus Ex and Unreal, musical composer who's now working with Retro Studios, and is also, this guy apparently really likes Metroid, which, hey man, that's enough of a reason for me to think that it's come to, that's confirmed in my mind. So basically there are other rumors as well that a new Metroid game is rumored to debut on the Nintendo Switch. So if this is true, I am super, super excited that, here's the thing is that if it's true that Retro is working on a Metroid game, what is the likelihood, like let's give it a percentage here. What likelihood is it that it's a Metroid Prime versus a different take on the Metroid franchise? Can you see them doing a different take on the Metroid franchise, or would they just do Metroid Prime 4?
They would do Prime 4.
You think? Yeah, that's what I think too. Marty, oh, sorry, go ahead.
They left off with a cliffhanger of Prime 3, and everyone's been asking for Prime 4. That's their bread and butter. If Retro Studios is getting the torch to go with it, it's definitely got to be a Prime game. I would be shocked if it wasn't.
Yeah, me too. Marty, what do you think, man? Did you play Metroid Prime? Are you like excited about this?
I played the first Metroid Prime all the way through. It was first time I played it. To be honest, I hated it. But so many people rave about it that I thought I need to go back and play this, and I made myself play through it, and I liked it. Then I tried playing the second one, and it's awful. I don't care what people say. Metroid Prime 2 is a piece of crap. And
that one.
What?
I haven't played that one.
It's the
not,
weakest of the trilogy, but
it's the one
it's not crap.
you jump back and forth between two worlds, so like the light world and the dark world. You have the light beam and the dark beam and all this crap, and so I didn't even bother to play 3. I prefer my Metroid 2D, and I think that's the way it should be. And listen, if we want to start Metroid Gate right here, we can do it. I hope they're not working on Metroid Prime 4. I hope they're actually making a real Metroid game for people who enjoy good games. And that's all I'll say about it.
Okay, so here's the one thing that I will say in defense of Metroid Prime 3 is I think that they did a lot of the motion controls. That was probably one of the best games especially early on. One of the funnest motion aiming games, because it really was the closest thing to like a keyboard and mouse that you could get on the Wii, was something like that with the motion controls, and that was really fun.
Now, I want to say this. Now, I say all that knowing completely full well that I'm buying whatever they put out. I mean, that's just, it's going to happen. If it's Metroid Prime 4, sure, why not? I'm going to buy it because I think a first-person Metroid game on the Switch will look amazing.
It absolutely would.
I really want that. I want my Metroid Fusion sequel.
Yes.
I want my Metroid Fusion sequel that continues the original Metroid story, because they left it a cliffhanger after Fusion.
So the rumors that there's 2 Metroid games, correct? That's one of the rumors.
Yes.
That
was a rumor that I saw. Yes.
I mean, I've been calling it on my show for a while. I think that Metroid is going to come back in a big way. I think we will get a 2D style Metroid game, and I think we will get a Prime style game, just like when they dual released Prime and Fusion, which Fusion is my favorite Metroid game out of the 2D scrollers. But you guys, I know everyone will run it on the Switch, but honestly, if I've been saying this, if they really want to if they're serious about keeping the 2DS line alive, they need to release a big game on it. And I could see Metroid coming to the 2DS as a side-scroller game instead of the Switch, and then the Switch gets the first-person Prime shooter game.
I hadn't even thought of that. I'm going to be honest with you right now that is pretty much the only thing that would make me pick up my 3DS right now.
You know what?
Me too.
You know what though? You would both do it out of spite, right? You would do it because that's the only way to do it, not because you actually want to play your 3DS. Right.
Right.
That's true. But I mean, here's the thing. What I guess what I'm trying to say is, if they release the right games on the 3DS, I'm going to go play it.
Sure.
Because if this Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga DX rumor is true, and they redo the first game in that series on the 3DS, I'm buying that because it was such a good game the first time around. But right now, I'm totally focused on the Switch.
Right.
And here's a question for you, Marty, though, and maybe for everybody. For the customers for the consumers who have moved on to the Switch, would Nintendo rather have you playing the Switch or the 3DS if you had to play one of them? Right? They would want you playing the Switch, right? And so at this point, it really comes down to what kinds of games are the people who own the Switch, who already own the Switch, or who are going to buy the Switch. Let's take that Metroid game and say, what audience does this actually fit? And the audience that's still on the 3DS, those are the people who they're making Hey Pikmin for, and Miitopia, and those kinds of games. And I really don't I would way rather have them I would rather see them release 2 Metroid games on the same system on the same day than to have them release it on the 3DS. I think that'd
be awesome.
They don't want to release a big, huge flagship title on the 3DS right now. They're releasing the 4th or 5th or 6th Kirby game in a year over onto that system, right? That's the end of system kind of activity that I want to see.
Sure.
On the 3DS. I don't want them to be as much as I love my 3DS, don't make me play that game on the 3DS. Let me play it on the Switch, or at least double release it like Fire Emblem.
What's the possibility, like you just said, of having a double release like Warriors?
That's what they did. What was it, Blaster Master Zero, that they did that? I have I don't believe that that would be a problem. If it's going to remain that same sort of like pixelated art style sort of thing, kind of like what they did. If it goes anything beyond that, I think that's going to be a problem. But
I think it does depend on the game. If they were ready to go well in on the Switch, the new 2DS XL wouldn't exist. The fact that it does exist and it will be coming out in July, saying that they're still putting out some effort into the 3DS. So I agree. A Prime game wouldn't work on the 3DS at all. That is Switch. Yep. That's Switch or nothing. But a 2DS Metroid could work either way. And again, my history with the Prime series is well known. If that is a thing, I'm not buying it. Big surprise there. I'm not even going with the Marty. I'll buy it if they make it. I'm not buying that at all. In flat zero. But the 2D, yes, I'm buying that no matter where it's coming out on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know, man. We'll see. It's exciting. So
can we
confirm?
Just speculate. Are we going to see this game or hear about this game at E3 this year?
Yes.
I'm going to say yeah, probably.
Well,
Retro's been quiet for too long.
If my January 2017 prediction is to be true, no.
What?
Because I predicted we would not hear anything from Retro. But this is a case I would love to be wrong.
Mm-hmm. How hilarious would it be if it's just Donkey Kong?
Monitors will be thrown out.
I would like that. I wouldn't mind so much.
I'm sure someone will throw something out of a window.
Yeah, a first party Donkey Kong game called Donkey Kong Prime, and that's
third person shooter.
You press the triggers to throw the barrels.
Shooting a banana gun.
Return of the coconut gun from Donkey Kong 4. And that's what you got. All the weapons. You've got like the crossbow, the feather crossbow. I'm trying to remember what all of the different weapons were. The peanut pistols, the coconut gun, the grape shooter. How did he shoot the pineapples? Was it just like another really big bazooka thing?
Like a bazooka.
Yeah. So there you go. Donkey Kong 64 makes a triumphant return as a shooter. Please make it happen.
Help us all.
Please, God, no.
Very quickly here, just on the topic of the 3DS, the Fire Emblem Echoes, which comes out in 2 weeks, I want to say, is confirmed to be the last 3DS entry in the series. Which
can I just say I was right?
I think that goes back down to the water is wet thing. Unless your name is Kirby, any new game coming out for the 3DS will be the last of his series.
Yeah. Seriously.
Poor Kirby. He's got to come in and do the cleanup work.
Yeah. And finally, of course, just a little reminder for everybody here. Where are we? Haven't heard this music in a while. We have some news to announce. For those of you who are not old-time fans of the show, Justin, who recently moved to Ireland, has now he's reached out to us. Is this confirmed, by the way? Am I announcing something that is
confirmed?
Not okay? So he's going to be back next week. Yay! So Justin will be back next week.
He put out like a 5-second YouTube video.
He did.
That's why he wanted the wobble puffet.
Perfect.
Sound effect.
So I love the fact that he's coming back, and it's exciting, and it's going to be wicked early in the morning for him. But I'm expecting him to return on video, and for some reason I'm just imagining. I'm sure I'm mixing my stereotypes here, but big long sideburns, mutton chops, probably red. No, that's Scott. Am I going with Scottish here? Am I mixing?
Justin is going to have an Irish accent.
Yeah.
The last time he was in Ireland, he picked up an accent really quick. And we called him out on that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and it's funny. It's actually really funny too, because even when he started visiting Boston more often, he started getting this weird sort of these Boston affectations as well, which is amazing. So I'm looking forward to that.
So I don't think he had that problem in Kansas City.
Yeah, I don't know. It's it'll be fun, but he's going to be back
He
next
did enjoy the barbecue.
Yeah. So
I don't
also
think he can remember much of Kansas City, to be honest.
Oh man, that's amazing. So so he's going to be back next week, so we're excited about that. This thing in the brackets here, are we going to do that? We have something, let's just say this. We have something exciting coming once he's back. We're going to iron out the details and we'll get into that once he's back. But it's not like the road to E3 is upon us as well, right? So we got some stuff to do here. So but we're excited to have him back, and it's going to be fun. So yeah, right on. Anything else, everybody, before we as far as news goes?
I think talk about the Kickstarter update, or pass on that.
Oh yeah. Go ahead, real quick.
Okay, so there was a Kickstarter update late last week about Shantae Half Genie Hero, saying that they're planning the Risky Boots campaign update sometime this summer. Didn't give an exact date for that, but just letting us know that they're still working on it, and it'll have new gadgets and new enemies exclusive to her campaign.
Nice.
Which will be free DLC, I think, for anyone who's bought the game or has it through Kickstarter.
That might actually make me go back to my Wii U for a little bit.
Very cool.
I'm not sure I'll play through it, but I'll definitely give it a try.
Nice. Let's see here. Very cool. All right. Well, with that, gentlemen, I think it's time to get into what we've been playing, shall we?
Yes.
By the way, Marty, that is the worst excuse for a do it I have heard in a long time.
Yes.
Just like a very sort of like half-hearted. Yes.
Should we get into our games we've been playing? Yeah, I guess. I mean,
yeah, sure, whatever.
If we have to.
Honestly, it's because I haven't had much time to play anything this week.
Yeah, no, neither have I. So yeah, let's get into it. And of course, Jacob, as we usually do, when I remember,
except for the last time.
We have our guests talk about what they've been playing first. So what have you been playing?
Oh, okay. Well, obviously, I think like a lot of us, I've been playing some Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I have to admit, I admitted it on my show that will be airing tomorrow, but I haven't played it since Friday. Okay. And usually I'm pretty cool at keeping my calm when I play games. Back in the day when I was like a teenager and stuff, I'd be ticked off. I mean, I would be mad. It'd ruin my day. Don't talk to me.
My daughter works out when she plays.
Yeah, that's how I used to be. Okay, and from time to time I could get that way where I'm yelling at the TV. But I since I've been married, my wife she does not stand for yelling, and I've mellowed out with that kind of stuff. But we're playing online, okay, and I'm playing in the indie podcast groups, and like I'm trying hard here. I've been practicing, and I'm like second place, third place from time to time, and I've got it in my head. This is how I'm going to get past this guy. And I'm going to get first. And then what happens is some knucklehead hits me with a red shell, and then someone uses their lightning bolt, and I lose all my items. And then I lose like 4 or 5 coins, so I'm not as quick. And then I get hit by 1,000 other things. And then now I was literally in third or second the entire race, but I have finished in 9th or 10th, and it looks like I just suck. So this happened not just once, but like 3 or 4 times last Friday night. And my wife was playing with me online, so she starts giggling at me. She starts laughing at me, and then I'm already like I'm a volcano, Rachel erupt here.
She probably started the chain of events.
She may have. So as soon as she just started laughing, I lost my cool. Like, she shouldn't have laughed at me, because when I did that, I yelled louder than I ever. I used to play football. I was yelling like I was on the football field, and at that point, I was like, pretty much within a matter of seconds, I was like a dog with his tail between his legs, and that was the last time we played Switch that night. So thankfully, we're all good. We're still married. We're okay. You know, I'm not sleeping on the couch or nothing. We're okay. But so I put Mario Kart 8 down just to give it a little rest. And I in my Nintendo Nostalgia group, I've been challenged to play some more RPGs because, Jesse, forgive me, I have not played very many. So I have been challenged to play Mario RPG, and I have actually got my Wii U back out to get to my Wii section of the Wii U to play my virtual console game of Mario RPG. So I've been playing through that a little bit. And we just covered Star Fox 64, so I bought Star Fox 64 for the 3DS, and I've been playing through that again and just revisiting that game. So that's
Star
what
Fox
I've been up to.
64 is, I honestly, like, Star Fox 64 is probably, I think I've said this lots before, but one of my favorite games of all time. I spent so many hours in that game playing through that. So good. So and honestly, and the 3DS version of that game, while it doesn't have the awesome battle mode that the 64 did, the four person split screen multiplayer, I still really like that game. So
great game.
Yeah, very cool. Right on, man. Well, let's I have some good stress reduction techniques that I could send your way.
I might need them.
Just Google something called box breathing for. Anyways, no, that's awesome. That's hilarious. I'm the same way. And it was funny. Yeah, it's. I won't get into it right now, but that's awesome. Anything else you've been playing, dude?
That's it for me. Just
right on.
Visiting those 3 games.
Right on. Very cool. Well, I'll just quickly go through what I have been playing. I haven't been playing a whole lot. More Mario Kart 8. I've been working on getting the what is it? If you get all 150 gold on all 150cc cups, then you get like the gold cart, right? And then if it's all 200, then you get gold Mario, and I can't remember all the other ones, but I've been working on those. It's hard, especially some of those later tracks. Some of those DLC tracks on 150, I'm not great at, and I don't think I'm ever going to be able to do that on 200. I've watched some videos from some people on getting a all gold on 200cc, and I'm like, oh my god, that is insanity.
Andre managed to do it somehow. I have no idea. I can't even play 150, much less 200.
Nintendo probably just gave him Gold Mario. Just like, here you go.
Yeah, seriously. So it's like the amount of skill that goes into that is crazy, but or just time and learning the levels and stuff, I guess, too. But
I think time, because I think once he sent a screenshot of his time played, and this was like the week of its release, because he had it for review, and it was like Breath of the Wild like numbers, like
are you kidding?
150 hours.
Why? Okay, yeah, no, that's okay. So I've been playing that. My son has been playing more Breath of the Wild. It's funny actually to have my 6-year-old son who's just like he's just going through it, and he's like, I found this Lizalfos camp and whatever, and it's just really cute to watch him kind of play through that still. And the other game that I've been playing that I bought on last week's show, this week, what is becoming a regular segment known as the games Zach bought during last week's show. Basically, so the game I bought was during last week's show was Kamiko, which is who else here has played this? Is anybody?
I played about halfway through.
Yeah, so I just got to the second world, whatever, like past the first boss. How many worlds are there?
4.
There's 4? Okay.
I think I just started the 3rd.
Yeah, so basically, like what you guys talked about last week, I've only played through it with 2 of the characters so far. I played with the sword and with the Captain America person throwing the shield. And so, yeah, it's fun. I was surprised at how responsive it is and how quick and snappy the controls are. That was something that kind of took me by surprise. But yeah, it's a good time. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, so. You can't beat it for a $5 game.
Oh yeah, No,
It's
and
a great deal.
especially since you because basically you do play through it 3 times, right? Like you play through it with each one, and I like that it forces you to play through the entirety. Like if you have like your save file, right? You choose your adventurer or whatever the class that you have, and it treats those basically as 3 different save files, right? So you can't progress. You can't like use the sword fighter up until this point in the game and then suddenly pick up the shield knight whatever person and use them. I'm sure
I
using
think it's a different game.
Yeah, shield knight is a different game. But,
The archer is really hard to use. I
haven't used the archer yet.
That's the only character I've tried so far.
Yeah,
The sword one is a little more like I would call beginner level.
yeah.
And I don't know about the shield girl, but the archer feels almost like hard mode in some ways because it's like, with the sword you can kind of just get in there and go whatever direction you want to, and it's not really that big a deal. But this you have to like be aiming in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
So
then using the combos that let you fire up to 3 or 4 arrows at a time does help give you a spread to hit multiple enemies from a distance.
Yeah, it was funny. I'm at a point right now where I didn't realize there was a run button. so like you have to,
I very rarely use that run button unless I have to.
Well, there's the point that I'm at right now. You have to hit the switch and then run.
You're at that puzzle. Yeah, it took me like 5 tries to get it.
And it was so frustrating because I got to a point where I literally I got through the first time and then I forgot that I didn't realize that I needed to find one of the shrine or one of the whatever they are the gates, the archways, while I was over there, and so I have to go back again. And I've tried the first time I got it the first try. I was like, oh, I just have to run, and then I got across. This time I've done it 5 or 6 times, and I kid you not, 3 of the times I got to the last square. And then it died, and then it turned off, and I fell in the water and died. I was like,
there are warp points that you can unlock once you're on the other side that you can go back and forth through the warps, so you don't have to cross that bridge.
Right, but that's what I'm saying is that archway, there are those archways, right? Those, I didn't realize that was over there when I was there,
right,
and so I did.
They have the 4 shrines to unlock the boss, but there's also these other just warp points you can activate while you're on that side. So you can that'll let you go back and forth through the warp points.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I didn't see those. Very cool. Okay. So I've been playing Kamiko, I've been playing Mario Kart, and what else? I think that's I also played Puyo Puyo Tetris against my wife, and apparently the adventure mode or whatever actually has trained me to the point where I can beat my wife at Tetris now, which is a big deal. I just want everybody to know how big of a deal that is because that's amazing. It's not Dr. Mario, and so she still got me on Dr. Mario, but I am now competitive in this game, which is it's a big day, which is awesome. So
right. Let us know when you can 5-chain Puyo Puyos.
Oh yeah.
Never. That'll be you'll be waiting until you die to hear me 5-chain Puyo Puyos.
So yeah. Marty, I'm interested in hearing what you have to say about this next game that we're going to talk about here, because
about this next game we also had a lesson on what is required to stream.
Yes. Yeah, as in nothing I own. We were fortunate enough to get a copy of NBA Playgrounds actually a little bit before it was released. I had it over the weekend. Saber Interactive was gracious enough to send us a code, and I downloaded this game mainly because back in the day I was a huge fan of NBA Jam, and seeing the trailer for this looked like it was going to be the second coming of NBA Jam, and I would love to tell you that it is. And in some ways, it is the second coming of NBA Jam. And then in lots of other ways, it's not. If you go online and you look for reviews of this game right now, it's pretty much split down the middle. There's people who love it and there's people who hate it. And the reason that people hate it is because of a lot of problems with the game that probably can be avoided and actually are the Saber is promising will be patched in later in a few days. In fact, the Switch version of it didn't even launch with the online component. It's probably coming tomorrow with the eShop update. They've actually said it's already submitted to Nintendo. They're simply waiting on Nintendo to approve it and let them release it. But it's not like Saber, is terrible at online gaming. I mean, they did make the Halo Master Chief Collection for the Xbox One that worked wonderfully online.
Okay.
Sorry, I probably should not have gone there. They're actually working right now on.
So is that after you install the 50 gig game and then install a 40 gig update?
Yes. Yeah.
Got
yeah.
it.
It's to work after that, but it doesn't. I'm sorry.
Intermittently, but
they are actually working on the new Quake game. I didn't realize that, but they're responsible for the one. They're the people behind Quake Champions that's coming out soon. So, but here's the good news about NBA Playgrounds is it's fun. It's quick to get into a game once the loading times are passed. It's fun to play 2-player on the Switch. My son and I have had some interesting games playing it. He doesn't exactly understand the mechanic. And this is one of the complaints about the game is that nobody really understands the shooting mechanic on this game unless you're dunking, because there's no explanation given to you about how to shoot the ball. You're given the button to shoot the ball, during your first exhibition. Like the first exhibition match you play, you'll have the controls on the bottom, an overlay of the controls. And the Y button is the shoot button. What they don't tell you is like they say, release the button at the top of your shot and it'll go in. It'll be that. But here's what they don't tell you. Perfect shots get an extra point added to the score. And the computer can make a lot of perfect shots. In fact, one of the biggest complaints about this game so far has been that the AI is so unbalanced. I played a couple matches yesterday where it was very obvious that it was rubber banding. Like I would get a couple of points ahead, or a couple of scores ahead, whatever, be doing really well, and then all of a sudden the AI would become unstoppable.
Ugh.
It is very hard to block shots from the computer. On top of that, it's very hard to steal the ball from the computer. So there's some frustration there. Also frustration about the loading times. In fact, we had one of our listeners tweet us over at the Nintendo Dad's Twitter account, and it's after we said something about 4 days ago, time for some NBA Playground. Big thanks to Saber Interactive. We posted that, and somebody replied, Steve Jaworski replied, "Here's what I thought," with a picture of it being deleted from his Switch. And
I went, ooh.
I said, I tweeted back to him, said, any specific reasons? And he said, shot timing is an infuriating enigma. Can't see any rhyme or reason for it. And guys, that is one of the overarching complaints about this game. Also, that if you tie a game against the computer wins automatically, no matter what.
What?
Yep. So they can dunk on you at the last minute, and if they tie it up, which they're going to do because it's rubber banding back toward you, and with the difficulty the way it is, then you lose.
Oh,
you lose. And another mechanic that I think really irks people is that you get the characters that you can play out of card packs. Okay, so when you first start the game, you're given 3 packs of cards with 5 cards each in them. So it's like a trading card type mechanic. If you get duplicates, they actually level up the player that's the duplicate.
It's like the gotcha system, like Fire Hero.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Fire Emblem.
So,
games.
like in my first 3 packs, I didn't get any duplicates. But like for a team, like say the Bulls, Chicago Bulls, right? There's like 6 or 7 players from that team in the game. I only got one of those players.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they may be really bad. Like, you may never use them. Like, their stats may be trash. So, like, and some people have already pointed out too that like the roster is not up to date. Like Chris Webber is in the game for the Golden State Warriors. He's already moved. He's already been traded. So there's a little bit of rust on it already coming out the gate. Some people have claimed that the handheld version of it looks like trash, and it's not great. It doesn't play in 720p on the handheld.
What?
Yeah, it's a little blurry. What I'm hoping is that all of this amounts to a big patch that's coming out soon, which Saber has promised that they are working on issues. But a lot of it just seems to be fundamental gameplay issues. Like, NBA Jam. Like, take for instance, Zach, did you play NBA Jam?
Of course, yes.
Okay, so you know how, like, if the opponent scores on you, you get the ball and you've got to, it's 2-man team. You can pass it to your other person, and it was like lightning fast, right? Like, I could pass it back in, and we're running back down the court.
It was like crazy fast. Yeah.
Not so with NBA Playgrounds. No. You have to wait for the other team to get in position so they can be ready for you. So as they amble back down the court, the timer's ticking. And so if you're way far down, you can end up losing the match because you're waiting on your teammate to pass it in.
Oh, why?
There's a couple of, those are just like some stuff that there's no scoreboard overlay. It's like in the corner on a placard that you can look at during the game, like as you're playing, but kind of makes it hard to see. I don't want to sound too down on it because it is fun. And I think it's pretty well done. And I think for most basketball fans, if you're wanting to get like your basketball fix right now for a game, it's what you've got on the Switch, right? Until 2K comes out. And I like it because it's the more arcade style of basketball, because I don't really care for like sports sim games, like a lot of the 2K series and everything. I like more action oriented stuff. But there are some, like, the loading times are ridiculous. Like, we're talking like Lego City undercover loading times.
Ouch.
For a 2-on-2 basketball game. And so there's just like I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that was all. Sorry,
so like with the game, like being, having players locked behind the experience wall in packs that you may or may not get, plus the loading times, plus the unstoppable AI in some situations, plus the controls being kind of a mystery or not having a tutorial. I think a lot of that's adding up to frustration for people, especially when they look at it and say, man, I paid $20 for this. When you've got games like Kamiko that we just mentioned that, I hate to say this, but feel a lot more finished than this game.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
The encouraging part of this is that the CEO of Saber sat down and with somebody and did an interview in the last couple of days, and he said that though that this is on the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 and Steam, I think that they really see the Switch as the home for this console, or as the home for this game.
Why did they release it? Oh,
and they want to get it right, so they want to make it right. They want to be sure that they address the concerns that fans have with this. And so instead of just putting it out there and like aborting it after it's out, and being like, well, we'll just dump it and whatever happens, they're actually going to try to support it past this. And that kind of gives me some hope for eventually it will be a game that will feel more finished and will, but I honestly right now, if you're out there and you're listening, you're like, should I buy it? I would say only if you're like a super dedicated basketball fan right now. But then, wait for the patch. If you're on the fence, wait for the patch and then get it. Unless you're just a super fan of basketball and you have to play basketball on your Switch right now.
Yeah, I hope they get it right. Like, if this is where they see the home, like the real home of this game to be, it is amazing to me that they released it unfinished, like without the online mode. Like, why would you?
Right.
Especially because the initial buzz of a game is so important. Then again, having said that, looking on the eShop, under the most, or like the most purchased or whatever it is, the most popular, it's number 3 right after Mario Kart and Puyo Puyo. So
the other day it was number 1.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's that's a crazy thing, but
yeah, because everyone bought it before they realized how bad it was.
Is Puyo Puyo number 1 right now?
I'm checking.
Sorry, I said I misspoke. Mario Kart is best, and remember, Canada and the U.S. actually have separate bestseller lists.
Right.
Mario Kart 8 is number 1. Kamiko is number 2, and then
Wow.
and then Puyo Puyo. So
now you're making me want to go see what's number 1 in the US eShop. I'll
probably.
I'm trying to check now.
It's probably.
I'm not.
Well, while Jesse's checking too, I just wanted to mention too. I've been playing a lot more Blaster Master Zero,
Nice.
just because like between Kamiko and Wonder Boy and the Dragon's Trap, those are 2 games I've beaten on the Switch in the past week, and I was thinking I haven't finished Blaster Master Zero. Surely I can't have that much left on it, and I don't. I'm in like the next to last area. I've enjoyed it. I don't know that I talked about it on the show when it first came out. I can't remember. I've enjoyed it, and I was telling the guys before we started recording, it's not a game that's really awesome, but it's not a game that I like hate either. It's kind of just in the middle. It's scratching the itch for that good retro like platformer, 8-bit, 16-bit art style thing right now. Not as good as Shovel Knight did,
Mm-hmm.
but it's still pretty good.
By the way, I don't know if you guys know this. Minecraft comes out on the Switch tomorrow.
It sure does.
That is
And it will be number 1.
How many times have I paid for Minecraft? And
I'm not paying for it again. I've already told my son. We bought it first on the. Actually, I bought it 4 times. I owned it on the Xbox 360 back when I wanted to play it, and then I bought it for PS4 for him. Then he decided he wanted the Wii U version because of the Mario content. So we sold the PS4 version and bought the Wii U version. Then he decided he wanted on PC to be able to do mods.
Mm-hmm.
Then my dad, who apparently is the Peepaw is that's what my kids call him. Peepaw is he's the most gullible man in America. Forgot he bought PS4 Minecraft a year ago and bought it again for my kids. So now we have 3. We have 3 versions of Minecraft in my house.
Marty, but this is on the Switch.
No. This is exactly you were saying the same thing that my 10-year-old son said to me. He was like, "Dad, it's on the Switch. I can play it when we go places." I said, "No, it's my Switch. You already have enough. No. I'm not gonna sit there and listen to you. Hey, Dad, come see my house. No.
Oh my gosh.
Crap enough.
So when you buy him his second Switch, you're going to get him Minecraft for that one, right?
No, he can buy it with his own money.
Well, here's the thing: is that it's only $30. It's $30 Canadian, which probably means it's probably only like $10 US. So.
Oh no, it's going to be $29.99 here.
You think so?
I guarantee it. $29.99 confirmed.
Really? So we're paying the same price as you guys.
Wow! Congratulations.
There.
Oh, that's amazing.
Our top, the United States top 3 is Mario Kart 8, Kamiko, Playgrounds.
Yep.
There you go. See, Canada and the U.S. aren't that different. Yeah. No, I'm not going to go there.
I had to reboot my Switch. So
to commit to that. Given the state of affairs, I am not willing to commit to that.
Now, and let me retract my statement here by making the same statement I made about Metroid Prime 4 earlier. I'll probably have Minecraft on my Switch. Because, I do want my children to learn the value of $1. But he'll catch me during a week time when I'm like, "Oh, you're not as young as you used to be. I want to do something nice for you," and now I'll download it like an idiot.
Yeah, he'll probably play what is it, that Cat Stevens father and son song from.
No, it's like all he's got to do is like pick up the Switch and like hold it like this, and the cat's in the cradle and a silver spoon.
Yeah, and I'll say the same thing I said for Prime. I'm not buying it.
You know, we'll have a good time there.
When we play Minecraft, Dad, then.
Wow.
Oh. Yeah.
In reality, though, I think actually that would be a really fun game. I tried to play I think we got the review copy from Nintendo for the Wii U version, so I had that. And I tried to get my son into it, and he wasn't really... I think at the time, this would have been like a year and a half ago, which means he was maybe 5. He just wasn't there yet, right? But I feel like now that he's played through so much of Breath of the Wild, I'm so hesitant to get him into that too, though.
Yeah,
like,
don't.
That is a terrifying thing.
That's all you'll hear about. Literally for the last 3 years at our house, everything has been Minecraft or watching YouTube videos about Minecraft.
Right now all I hear about is Breath of the Wild, and like on a daily basis, Dad, where's the Gerudo town? Dad, where's the tower in the Gerudo? Dad, where do I go to get the Gerudo thing? Dad, where? No, I went to the Gerudo town and they wouldn't let me.
Am I a bad dad because my son is in the Va Meadow or whatever the Gerudo beast, and I want do a walkthrough for him because I hate that thing so bad. I hate those cylinders that you turn. He's like, Dad, I can't figure it out. I'm like, oh, just keep spinning them, son. Just yep, you'll figure it out.
Yeah, I know. It's
Divine Beast. I hate it.
I basically told him I was like, okay, I will help you maybe defeat some of the shrines if they're really hard, or when it comes to doing the divine beasts, I will help him. I'll basically do a lot of it. Although the most recent one he did, which I think was the Rito one, he actually got most of the terminals himself. So
wow.
So he's getting better, and I was just like,
kid.
yeah, all right, here you go. There were a few that he was like, Dad, I don't get it, and I kind of showed him no, look, you can tilt the thing, and he's like, oh, okay, and then he just went. But then the actual boss, he doesn't have the hand-eye coordination down. He doesn't have the reflexes and all that quite yet. But then after that, I was like, all right, here you go. I'm not doing this for you. And and then he's basically almost to the point where he's at the divine beast now. I kind of had to help him. He's done 3 of the divine beasts. He's on the 4th one, but at the same time, he's only got 20 shrines. He's basically just going from divine beast to divine beast. And he has, I was like, dude, you got to get more shrines in this because you're not going to get the Master Sword if you only have this number of parts. You're going to have to do more.
Dad, I'm going to fight Ganon with this stick. You go for it, son.
Yeah, he's going to have to. He's got a lot more to do, but it's pretty funny to watch that. So I don't know if once he's done that, trading that in for Minecraft seems like a ticket for something terrifying, but I don't know. Anyways,
last week I was listening to IGN's spoiler cast on Zelda, and while they were talking about what's in the castle in the final area, I'm thinking, you know what? I never found the Hylian shield or the armory.
Never found the shield?
I never found the shield.
Oh, that's amazing.
My son's like, I can show you where it is. I'm like, maybe later. I'm not planning on going back there for a while.
Yeah. That's funny. Jesse, did you have anything you want to talk about?
Yeah, a few games. So I think I mentioned Puyo Puyo Tetris last week. I played more after the show, and I've reached my limit. Before I was stuck on 4-4 or 4-5, and I did muddle through that and got to 5-10. And oh boy, I'm never gonna clear this level. I don't care what anyone says. It's a Puyo Puyo versus Puyo Puyo match, pretty much against a god. And the 5-9
was that the one that you tweeted about, Ecolo?
Yes. 5-9 is the same opponent with Tetris versus Tetris, and I'm decent at Tetris. I've been playing Tetris for 27 years now, but it took me about 10 tries to beat him in Tetris. And when I got to the Puyo Puyo match against him, he, the whole thing lasted maybe 40 seconds. I was full of garbage. I think I played 5 tiles. I was like, there's no way I'll be able to beat him. I took a screenshot of my full board, slightly crooked as it's ready to fall, and I put it on Twitter. I'm like, there's no way I'm beating this guy. So, and then, as I said before, I'm not playing online anymore either. I get my clock cleaned because, the people who play online are good, and the people who aren't good that play online only play once.
Yeah.
They want that win.
They see how good everyone else is, and they're like, okay, I'm never doing that again. And I played a little bit more Blaster Master Zero. I think I'm at the final boss, and he kicks my butt too. And because the thing with him is his attacks are the beam attack versus a projectile attack. So it's just instant. As soon as he attacks, if you're in his range, you're hit. There's no dodging the bullet because there is no bullet, and he's not limited to certain angles of fire. He can pretty much hit you at any angle. So you got to be constantly moving, and a good distance away from him, and he pretty much corners you pretty easily while you're trying to attack him enough. Because once you lose that big beam, you pretty much have nothing on him. So I'm not sure if I'll ever beat that game either.
Sounds like a lot of fun. I can't wait till I get there.
Yeah, great. The game I am enjoying is Persona 5. I've finished the first main dungeon. This game is set up a little bit differently than previous Personas. They have the main dungeons, and those in previous, like Persona 3 had like one big tower. It was like 250 floors, and most of the levels were pseudo randomized with certain specific levels, static levels for like key events or mini bosses or main bosses. And then Persona 4 was kind of similar. It had multiple separate dungeons with different themes, but for the most part, it's randomly generated with very specific pieces and on certain levels for those events. Persona 5, the main dungeons are all static dungeons. They're handcrafted. You can get a map that that helps you along.
Yeah.
But then there's this. The way the dungeons are set up is like one of the adults, has illusions of grandeur in a way and thinks of himself bigger than he really is, and that creates what they call a palace. So in the first case, it was a teacher who thought he was quote unquote the king of his castle. The school was his castle. He was the king. So his palace was shaped like a castle, and he was literally the king of it. So by defeating him and taking the treasure of the dungeon, you steal his heart, which basically gives him a reality shift. He then becomes sorry for everything he's done wrong, confesses his sins, turns himself into the police, and then has a backlash from that. So, and I'm just starting the second palace now as well. So then, in between the major palaces, there's the minor palaces, which they're calling it. I forget the name they used, but it's essentially like instead of like a big villain in a superhero movie, this is like your street level thug. So minor inconveniences that just help. It's your training. It's your where you grind when you want to level up outside of a big dungeon, and that is your randomly generated dungeon area.
Does this game take a lot of grinding?
So far, no, but traditionally they do in the end game. I'm only 15 hours in. I'm like level 11 or 12. Again, just starting the second dungeon. So, but normally, Persona's games get grindy near the end, or at least you have to have a certain specific skill. Like I remember playing Persona 3 when I was like in the mid-20s. I had to grind my main healer a few levels so for her to get the ability to heal. There's like multiple levels of heal. Small heal, medium heal, large heal. I forget the exact spell names because they get really obscure. And then they have single target and multi-target, which changes the name of the spell. So you needed to have the medium level multi-target heal spell. Otherwise, you just couldn't win because the enemy did an area of effect attacks that landed on more than one person. So I'm sure there'll be more of that coming later on. I'm just not that far in the game yet. But with what I'm hearing, it definitely is an 85 to 100 hour game.
That's a long game.
Just like, Persona 3 and Persona 4 is the same. So, this isn't anything unexpected. But I'm liking it so far.
Very cool. These big, huge games like this, I have a really hard time now in a post-Switch world. I have a really hard time getting excited about playing it 100% on the TV.
The reason why I'm not as far into the game as I was hoping is because, again, I have to fight with my kid for the TV. And before I tried to use my Vita as remote play, but it's, again, post Switch, that even the Vita screen's small. But I did find out that there's a PC version of remote play. So I've been doing a little bit of that while my son's up playing on the Wii U or the PS3. I can play the PS4 on my computer, still, on my 24-inch display, 1080p. So it's
okay?
A little bit of lag, which in a turn-based RPG is fine.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to play Call of Duty on it. But it's passable. It works.
Yeah.
All the audio comes through fine.
Very cool. Right on, man. Well, hey, I'm looking at the time. We still have another episode to release or record tonight. But I do want to get in some time for Jacob to go through his stuff as well and do some community spotlight. So I'm going to play this.
It's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you are going to get.
All right. So, Community Spotlight, of course, is where we let our guests, share a little bit about what they're doing in their corner of the internet. And Jacob, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do over at Nintendo Nostalgia?
Awesome. Guys, I just want to say thank you so much for finally allowing me to get on the show. Out of all the podcasts I listen to, okay, the Nintendo Dads was probably my first big one I ever got into. And just the fact that I'm even on right now talking to you guys is surreal. It's kind of like, I was thinking about today, I was kind of like, man, you ever have like that favorite band that you loved and you listened to? Like Zach, what was one of your favorite bands back in the day?
Dashboard Confessional.
Dashboard Confessional. Okay.
We
liked a lot.
Is that a thing? Or are you just making things up?
No, are you serious?
I've never heard of that,
dude. That's seriously a real band.
No, okay, let's put Blink 182 so Jesse can understand our reference.
Okay, that I've heard of.
Okay. Blink 182 is probably my favorite band of all time. So so it's like you actually get to hang out with the band. Like, you were inspired. They taught you. You learned guitar or whatever. And that's how I feel like with you guys. So I made a little list here.
And then you find out that they're just a bunch of dirtbag schmoes who feel you're not impressive and your fantasy is ruined. And is that how this ends, or am I?
No, that's not true. That's not true. The only sad part is that Justin's not here. That's the only sad part. But I made a little list here that things I wanted to say. First off, it's about time I got on Nintendo Dads. I had a freaking baby to try to qualify to get on this show. I got pregnant. I was like, I'm into Nintendo. I started a podcast, and I had a kid. When can I come on? So finally got that in.
It's the idea that you have like this roadmap ahead, like several years ago, like this roadmap to Nintendo Dads.
What was the review that we got like a few months ago that was like, this show's so like, I imagine it in a Tracy Morgan voice from 30 Rock, like, you know, like, this show's so good, I'm gonna go get some chick pregnant.
Well, that happened. So, with my lovely wife, but yeah, you know, I had a kid, got on the show finally. No, I first heard you guys. I'm all about nostalgia, so I'm trying to think back. The way I discovered Nintendo Dads was Jesse and Justin. I cannot remember the name of this podcast. They were all a guest on a podcast, and I believe they're located in Europe. Part of your website, I believe.
That would probably be the Nintendo podcast system.
Yes, that's it.
Oh yeah, which is another. Yeah, I think they also are on VG Tribune. So.
Yep.
Yes. So I back when I was because I used to work at a warehouse, like literally a year ago, 2 years ago, I was working in a warehouse 10+ hours a day, Monday through Friday, sometimes Saturdays, and like I loved when you guys would go 3 hours because like it just made the day go by quick, you know. So. I had no issue with that, but I discovered you guys through that, and ever since then, I kind of view you guys as kind of like the Avengers. The Nintendo Dads, in my mind, are the Avengers because all my other podcasts that I have listened to, like If We Were in Nintendo, the Geekcast, and We the Nerdy, like I discovered them because of you guys. So like I knew Bobby Paul's because of you guys. I know Sean Capri because of you guys. So is it? I kind of view this as we're all this Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Nintendo
like,
Dads.
You got the Nintendo Dads. Exactly, and then from there you get a connection to another podcast. No, it's really helped me be able to start my own show, and it inspired me because I would listen to your guys' show and I would be like talking to myself, like, no, I want to engage on this conversation, like when Marty wanted to take Donkey Kong off the list, I about had a heart attack. So I mean, just other things. Back in the Star Fox Zero days, like I had a whole things I wanted to say, but no one could hear me. So,
but you didn't care about Devil's Third then, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's funny you say that because that was how I initially got into podcasting too. I mean, this was, I'm trying to even remember when this would have been. Jesse, you probably would know, like before when I was listening to a show called Infendo Radio, which still exists. It's in some sort of like reconstituted zombie form. But it's not even.
I'm not sure who ran it now because the people who ran it 2 years ago spun off their own show.
Yeah, so I'm not sure where it is now. Like that's kind of what happened. But I remember listening to that show and being like, no, what? No. And eventually I just was like, hey guys, I need to be on the show. And then I just ended up being on the show every week after that.
And
like
then I started podcasting. I started listening to Infendo when Zach was the host. So,
wow.
There's a chaining here all through.
Absolutely.
Spawning off of Infendo.
And they just picked me up from some random gas station in the South. So,
and it was just like hey, this kid's got talent. Bring him in.
I was right next to the counter, right next to the cash register by the cheap cigarettes and fidget spinners.
That's hilarious.
Oh, fidget spinners, good.
Well, and then for Zach there, I wanted to say when you said you were in 6th grade when Pokemon came out.
Probably 7th or something like that. Around there, yeah. So maybe grade 7 or 8.
I was in kindergarten, just so you know. I was in kindergarten.
Oh no!
Y'all don't want to know how old I was.
I'm a
college freshman.
Oh wow! I was a young pup. I still am, I guess. But
I was in my 20s.
There you go. And then I want to apologize, man. Back in September when my daughter was born, I wrote you guys an email talking about all ukulele platonic stuff and about my daughter. But you had the hardest time reading my email, and I felt like a big idiot. Like I must have worded that thing terribly. You were stumbling over yourself.
You know, I have like borderline dyslexia. Probably, it's never something I looked into, but I've suspected it for a while. So who knows? But it was probably more me than you.
No, okay. Well, that's my list. But so I can talk about a little bit more about what I do. Basically, I met Bobby Paul because of you guys, and Bobby. I reached out to Bobby last summer around July, and I said I want to start a podcast, and he reached back to me and he helped me. I mean, literally everything I know how to record, edit, I learned from Bobby. So I do everything almost exactly the same way he does things. And Sean Capri, of course, Sean was there to help me out as well. And then, but a good friend of mine who lives in town here, we started up last fall, and I think Nintendo Nostalgia was born out of the frustration of the struggles of Nintendo because I've always loved Nintendo. I came home, and I have 3 older brothers. We had a Nintendo. We had the NES, and then we had the Game Boy. And my best friends all had Nintendos and the Super Nintendos, and we got a 64. And I bought my own GameCube. Like, Nintendo's been my whole life, and I've never strayed away from Nintendo. So it always baffles me, like, so many people, at least in the Wii U days, I think things are changing right now, but it just felt like there was just a lot of hate towards this company that I legitimately cared about. Like, I'm never happy. I legitimately care about Nintendo a lot and their success, and I want to see them successful because they mean so much to my childhood. They made up a huge chunk of my childhood. So we started Nintendo Nostalgia I wanted to tap into people's memories, like, to remind them of when Nintendo had that spark for you as a kid. Like, you remember that time when you got Star Fox 64 and what you were doing and where you got it, the stories that come with that, and like just how magical of a time it was to play that game or another game or another system. That's really kind of how our show started. And we talk about, like, we're having Star Fox 64. It'll air today technically, but it's we go around and we cover games. We talk about our personal memories with them, and because my favorite thing with podcasts is I love hearing your guys' stories. Like, when you guys will go on a rant and you'll talk about, like, Zach, I remember you talking about when you play in your Pokemon in class and you were like looking under the desk and trying to play. I thought that was hilarious. I love to hear those types of things. Or Justin in a story about how he got Mario Bros. 2 or Donkey Kong Country. Like, I love those stories. And to me, I wanted, maybe people don't care about my stories, but I just wanted to share my memories with it, because I do have a pretty good memory of just my past in certain games. And I don't know every game. Like, I didn't know Mario Bros. 2, and we had Marty on for that show. And Marty brought great advice and about the game and a great story to go along with it. And that's what it is, So it's not, you guys do retro rewinds. It's not necessarily like a retro rewind per se, but it's because it's more focused on us personally and our experiences than the game itself. I mean, we talk about the game, and we'll have side topics like our top 3 most favorite boss battles of all time to us in the Nintendo realm. So things like that. That's what the show is really all about. And we just want to remind people of the good old days when they played with Nintendo, and to let them know, like, hey, they're still around and they still can do some magical things if you let them. So that's what we're about. That's what Nintendo Stars is all about.
Wow. Well, right on, man. That's awesome. Thanks for taking the time to be on the show. It's always awesome and fun to have people be able to kind of, you say that about kind of, and I always, it's interesting to kind of see, like, how far the show has come. And one of the things that we were very intentional in was, like, okay, like, we want to make sure that we're, like, that we're making those connections in the community and that we're bringing people together. And I think that was one of our big drives, especially early on, with the was to connect to connect the community in a way, and I hope we've been successful with that, and I don't think we can take all the credit either, but yeah, there's a lot of really awesome stuff going on. And hey, the more the merrier. So that's awesome. I appreciate you taking the time to be on the show. It's been fun.
I thank you for having me on. And I hope I can come back one day. I hope I don't talk too much and stay my welcome. But
no, it's fun. Absolutely.
I mean,
You don't have to wait till
you're
you're
not
6
me. You're not me, so you don't talk too much.
If Marty's allowed to be on the show as often as he is,
anything is possible.
Anything? Okay, that's good to know. It's been truly an honor, and I'll have to get on when Justin's on too, because I got to hang out with him sometime too. He's going to be on the show later on in the year as well, so
cool.
We'll have to get all you guys on at some point.
Nice, right on.
I guess if you want to find me, you can find me on. I'm on Twitter. I got back into Twitter just because of this podcasting show, and I didn't really use it before, but I'm on NOS Jacob 73. So you can follow me there. But us personally, our show goes through SoundCloud, which you can get on iTunes and on Google Play as well. You can find our Facebook page at Nintendo NOS. That's short for nostalgia. Our Twitter account is Nintendo_NOS. And then if you ever want to email us or anything, it's NintendoNostalgiaIN@gmail.com. So that's where you can locate us if you want to be involved with our show and our community.
Right on, man. That's awesome.
I highly recommend it too. I want to plug your show here. Is like I love the way that you guys take like a certain game or you take a certain system or something and you focus on that for an entire show. And you guys are able to do that because of the format of your show. And I think that appeals to people, that they can reach out and be like, oh yeah, I remember Mega Man 2, which by the way, I'm really still upset with you that you didn't have me on for Mega Man 2. But the Mario 2 episode was just cool to talk about, cause that's one of my favorite games. So, I can always people can always talk about things that stir emotion in them, or stir memories.
Sure.
And so I think you're tapping into something really powerful there. And guys, if you're out there and you're not listening to the Nintendo Nostalgia podcast, go put that in your download queue each week and go over and listen to what Jacob and Ryan are doing. They're doing a great job.
Thank you. And you know what, Marty? We're going to have you back for a Mega Man episode. And
it better not be Mega Man X. That's all I'm going to say.
It will be Mega Man in general, and it's going to be you. And we have a third co-host who comes on once a month. His name is Tom. He took Mega Man 2 because that's his favorite game as well. And,
okay.
But you remember you stole the longest. Yes, you guys should know Marty took the crown for the longest episode we ever had because of
surprise
because Marty was on. So, but we promised when we do our Mega Man episode, it's going to be you and Tom, and we're not going to do it. We've learned our lesson. We're not going to do any news. We're just going to jump right in and let you, because Tom talks just like you. So we're just going to let you two have at it.
Yeah. If you want an episode longer, get Roger and Josh at the same time.
Yes, we all know about that.
Well, very cool. Well, gentlemen, we have another episode to record tonight. So with that, we're going to skip emails this week, and we are going to round out the show. Marty, do you know of anything important that we need to say before we round things out?
No, I mean, we do need to remind people that we have heard your voice, and we are always listening. Retro Rewind is coming back very soon. In fact, the show that Zach is referring to that we need to record after this is our Double Dragon episode of Retro Rewind. So if you're
2 months late,
yeah, if you're hearing this, what you may want to do is play through Double Dragon or Double Dragon 2, because I think we're going to talk about it a little bit over the next few days in preparation for that episode to drop. And also be playing Super Mario World. I know a lot of us have put up our Wii U's, but you can get that on your 3DS as well. Waiting for the sweet, sweet day I'll be able to play it on my Switch as well. So get caught up on Retro Rewind. And if you have any suggestions for games for future episodes of that, shoot them over to our Twitter account at Nintendo Dads, and we'll take a look at those going forward.
Nice. Right on, man. Well, let me turn this on, the music. And once again, Jacob Rush, thanks for being on the show, man. It's been awesome having you.
Thanks for having me.
All right. And if you want to follow us, everybody, on all of the social media platform doodad, you can do so on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram at Nintendo Dads. If you want to email us, you can do so nintendodads@gmail.com. If you want to go over and find videos on Twitch or YouTube, you can find those on there. Just look for Nintendo Dads. You'll find us. Call in and leave us a voicemail at 929-25-NDADS. That's 929-256-3237. Big thanks to OC Remix for our music throughout the show, as well as to both Carter Johnson and Adam Leonard for our amazing artwork. And of course, if you want to buy some Nintendo Dads merch, go to tiny.cc/Nintendo Dads store. And if you want to change the world, which I know is important to everyone, spread the Nintendo Dads gospel by going to iTunes, leaving us a 5-star review. Written reviews are even better. And if you want to subscribe to the show, you can do so on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and of course, VGTribune.com. For me, for Jesse, for Marty, for the Irish Justin, and for Jacob. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Nintendo Dads.
Wobble Puffet? Wobble Buffet?
I had to do it. He's going to be back.